Hey, welcome back to the Business Emergency Room podcast. I'm your host, Marcia. I'm very excited that you're tuning in today because we have a fabulous guest. In today's episode, we're going to talk about scars. Remember, we talk about scars, first aid kits, or sometimes we do live on air triage. Today, we're going to learn from other people's scars and trials and tribulations and successes. My guest today is Romeo El Chaer, and we met in person only a few weeks ago, actually here in New Orleans. It turns out we've been circling in somewhat the same environments and have a shared work experience in Nigeria, of all places. And yeah, we met through mutual professional friends and colleagues. And that was really nice. And listening to Romeo's stories, I'd figured there is definitely scars there others can learn from. So welcome, Romeo. I'll before we I'll let you talk. I'll give a little bit more of the formal introduction about who you are and what you do. So Romeo was born and raised in the crucible of Lebanon, where survival is a daily battle. So yeah, talking about resilience, we do a lot on this show. Obvious where that's coming from, living under the constant threat of uncertainty. Yeah, the love for life, I think, is also something Romeo and I connected on. That's what I love about New Orleans. And if you grow up in a situation in a war-torn country and seeing what you see growing up in a place like Lebanon, then yeah, that definitely gives you an appreciation for the good stuff in life and a reminder to celebrate those too. A childhood eye accident left him scarred, and combined with the challenges of growing up in a war-torn nation, he faced immense adversity. Yet these trials forged him in having an unwavering determination to overcome obstacles and thrive. And I think we'll touch on some of that, but Romeo's had a very varied career in all sorts of businesses and organizations. But today, he's a certified life coach, a clarity coach, and a resilience expert and speaker. And he's dedicated to helping others harness their inner strength. And his role as a member of the ICF Global and ICF Houston chapter, as well as a director of membership at the National Speakers Association Houston chapter, reflect his commitment to supporting and inspiring others. And so, yeah, inspiring others, and hopefully sharing your story so that others don't have to reinvent the same wheel today. Welcome again, Romeo. And yeah,
Thank you much.
excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Marcia. And I'm really have the privilege to be on your podcast.
Thank you. So yeah, we talk about scars, business chaos. What do you do when you get into these now what or what now moments, when it feels like everything has kind of been building up and now the way out is not so clear. So yeah, tell us, do you have a story for us in that space?
Well, I have so many stories, and I was lucky that when I started my career, I was a quality management consultant. So I used to prepare the organizations to get the ISO 9001 certification. So that goes into a lot of meeting people, coaching them, and see how they react to the change. And that's where most of people they just resist for the change because of fear of losing a job, fear of not doing it, fear of being replaced. So there is a lot of this that happens. And with my role, I was facing all those fears and interacting with people. And what I can tell you, Marcha, that during my career, there is something that with the scars that we get in life and those hardships that we go through as individuals, it just increase our resiliency. It just put us in a situation we can overcome things. It's hard, yes. It's difficult, yes. Painful, yes. But somehow the resilience, the resiliency within us, the more it is developed, the more we can overcome those obstacles and we can move on in our lives. And that's what I encountered in organizations as well. You know, when you go for ISO, for example, to be certified, you need to make a lot of changes, adjustments, put the rules, put the procedures, instructions, whatever it takes, so you can be to get the conformity with what is required from the standard. And for that, you have to implement a lot of things, and that you face resiliency within the organization, and that's the beauty of it. You see that the successful organization, it's by the power or level of resiliency of its staff, its people. That's the movement within the organization that make them thrive. And the less the resiliency is there, the more difficult for compliance, more difficult to change, more difficult to encounter situations that they come new and they don't know how to deal with it, because the level of people or individuals that they have lower level of resiliency, they cannot cope with the change or with this challenge. That cause a difficult situation for organizations as well. So the scar and resiliency is not only on the individual level, it's also on the organizational level, and that when it changed the whole thing.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about that? Because um, I agree with you that to a certain extent we need to incur our own scars, right? Because that teaches you about that you can get out situations you didn't think you could get out of. It teaches you usually that you have more strength and more ability under in these situations than you maybe thought. So it's very important. We also, of course, know that humans want to reinvent the wheel all the time, but I would love for people to not get more scars than needed, right? And that's why we're doing this. We're talking about other people's scars with the hope that people can take some of that on board and maybe recognize symptoms earlier. And working in quality, that's of course also learning and verifying what's happening and learning from others. So uh, how do you think people can become better from learning from other people's scars? Where have you seen that work, and where or maybe not work?
Well, you know, when you meet people, look at them. Don't judge them. See what they have learned from life, what they have went through their lives, because definitely you're gonna see that they have a lot of wisdom. Because when you go into scars, when you go into difficulties, like in my case, when I was at the age of 3, I had an accident. I was playing around, and I got me and a cousin, we just crafted a bow and an arrow. So we wanted to play cups and rubbers. And unfortunately, he just launched the arrow. It was a handmade. It shouldn't be good, but it went straight into my eye, and I lost it on the spot. And I had to live with that difference in my look, because it was not the appearance was totally different. With that, by growing with this, I had to find a coping mechanism so I can move on in my life. And I had a lot of judgment and rejection, because you know what they say, like the eyes are the mirror of the soul. And for me, I had a broken mirror. People couldn't go beyond that appearance. So I was judged by just how I looked, and that was really heavy for someone growing up. But but during that era, I just figured figured things out. So I was able to overcome all this, and now, uh, look what I'm doing. I can't stop. I have to keep move forward. I'm growing. I'm enjoying life. I'm thriving. And I found the love of my life. Why? Because my mindset was established in a way that I need to survive. I need to move forward. I need to grow constantly. And that's what we should look into people. And they have the potential. It just they need to just get over it. It's like everything starts within ourselves. That's where things start. We have to accept, embrace that scar, because some people think it's a weak point. For me, it's a superpower, and that's what makes us so amazing creatures. That it's amazing when you start meeting people, Marcia. It's so beautiful when you see that inner phoenix within them that can rise and shine and thrive in life after having a lot of hardship. And
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
what we should look at.
I talk a lot about that in my business, and in this podcast you hear that come by probably a few times already too. I talk often about from panic to power, um, because in these moments when you really have the panic, or you're on this hamster wheel and you don't know how to step off, or you feel like you're with your back against the wall, it
Yeah.
making that decision or that first step in the moment, it's usually not about the decision, because there's usually not a lot of options, right? There's usually only one logical, but it's about actually doing it. And the conversation is always, can you go back to a point in your personal life where you remember that you were able to do that? And is there a word or a phrase or a smell or a feeling that you can associate with that, that you can then say to yourself, so that when you find yourself in these moments again, you can remind yourself. In your case, it's a phoenix. In my case, I tell myself I have to be one eye, which in the context of your story is a bit harsh, but from the expression that in the land of the blind, one eye is king. And I'm like, okay, why me? I guess today I have to be one eye. So I tell myself, today you're one eye. You just have to do it, right? And so yeah, lovely. It's about figuring out, and usually in 99% of the cases in these conversations, it comes from a personal, often even a childhood or a teenage year story, huh?
Mhm.
This moment when you realize, actually, I did it and I can do it. And if I can invoke that feeling, I can do it again.
That's true. That's true. And I have met some people that they had this some accidents during their adulthood, like they were like young men and young women and like mid 30s sometimes, and even more. And it was totally different. The reaction and coping was more difficult than when you grow up with it. It's different. It's not the
Yeah.
same thing because the habits change. But it's the same thing. We encounter things, and you know let me tell you a secret. I had a secret. I had very powerful secret that made me go through all that. And that's what I want to just tell the others about. And for me, I'm a man of faith and I believe in God. And that's where my starting point. You know, there is three pillars that build my life as it is today. First one is about believing in God. Because the more I had a lot of existential questions. Why me? Why this happened? What did I do? I was just a kid. I was a child. So I had this anxious things within me that I want to understand why this. So I had to build a strong relationship with God so I can understand. And then I discovered that my optimism was by the hope that I got from my relationship with God, because He is the God of hope and He is merciful. And we are like a very honorable creature and we are worthy. And that gave me a lot of things to think about. Okay, I am worthy. So there is something beyond my scar. There is something beyond that challenge that hit me. All I had to discover and move on with my life. The second pillar is about believing in human kindness. People are good. We encountered, I encountered, we're gonna encounter a lot of people that they may not seem like they don't care or they have their own agenda, but there is always people that will look at you and cherish you and see that special thing within you. They will see your spirit. And those people that are around us, and we meet them, and they just put that seed and positivity to help us, support us, understand us, listening to us. and then we move forward in our lives. And the third one is the belief in self. If you don't believe in self about your strengths, discover your strength and embrace your scar, it's going to be difficult to accept everything else because we have to overcome this first. So then we can start seeing things from a different perspective. And those three pillars that help me to figure out life and move on with my life.
Yeah, and I love that second point because I also often talk about the ripple effect of leadership because yeah, you use the word cherish, which I love, but in the workplace is maybe not always a term somebody use, but I'm a firm believer that even when stress levels are very high and your organization is stretched, if you start moving as a leader with intent and start showing where you want to go, you will get a positive reaction from those in your team who have the capacity still to react and respond, right? There might be some that are so at the end of the tether that in the moment they just have not a lot to give. But you, as soon as you start acting in a positive and constructive manner as a leader, others will react to you. And the overwhelming majority of that will be positive and will be trying to figure out how they can engage in where you want to go from what they have to offer. People want to help, people want to support, people want to together be part of the success and move forward, huh? And we keep forgetting about that sometimes in this society. I have a question related to that because we have a lot of leaders in this space. So there, one thing is tapping into your own strength and reminding that you have it and you using your own scars. How could you, if you have people in your team or your organization who also have that but maybe don't see that so much, what can you do as a leader to help people realize that they have the strength? I know you have a lot of experience also working in safety and as a leader in working in quality and safety is not an easy place because it's a lot of soft influence, right? Without a lot of authority. So yeah, I figured this is a good question for you.
Well, it's so important to work with others. You know, it's not about managing their lives or managing their work. It's about leading them forward so they can climb the ladder and walk with you, because the people need support, need to be understood, need to be pushed forward in a positive way because we as leaders, we need always to put in mind that those people, we were in their shoes while ago and we needed someone, and actually someone understood us and gave us the hand to pull us out and so we can move forward and into the ladder of hierarchy. And that's the beauty of it because it's people, they are so special and they might put some masks because they have their own scars, so they are afraid somewhere, they are worried about being judged. But those people, they have strength, and that's what a leader should look for. What what is their strength, where is it, and how to motivate them to put that, to give them the courage to put it out, to make them open. And believe me, the moment you start you empower your team, your people, they will thrive, they will do magic, and they will be themselves. They don't have to hide, they don't have to be shy about, if I say this, they will say I'm a fool, or, look who's talking. No, 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 no. You have to empower them and give them the opportunity to express and get things out of the box. And believe me, I faced that when I was doing the quality management consultants. You wouldn't believe what I've discovered within people. They just made my project to succeed in a way you can never imagine because I I gave them trust. We built this trust relationship, and by leading people to through that direction, it's like open the magic box. That's how it is. It's amazing. So for leaders out there, some people they know and they are one amazing leaders, and the new leaders, just look to your people, find the strengths, be open to them, and let them express. And believe me, you're gonna find magic with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Lovely. Great advice. Yeah. And my experience teaches me that in their kind of normal operating circumstances, people are actually pretty good at telling you what they're good at or what they like, or it's easy to see. And then people say, oh, but then when everything is in chaos, it's much harder. And actually, um, I don't think it's harder. I think a different set of strength comes out because when the pressure is high and emotions are running high, people struggle to to keep things behind the veneer. So usually they become more transparent and more open, whether they want to or not, because of the stress of the situation. Um, and you tend to find out additional strength in people, and yeah, and it's sometimes a different set, or yeah, additional or different. It's not always the same set that they operate with in their normal circumstances, right? But it's about, as a leader, making sure that you look and see, and that you really try to identify that, and not of your own assumptions, but by what you see in these individuals. Because if you get it right and you can indeed motivate it, you have a whole team of superpowers, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
with my current career as a life coach and clarity coach, I hear a lot. I got a good ear of listening. And I always search between the lines, between the words about what's going on because that's so powerful. Listening is so important, and in organizations, it's the same thing. We need to listen sometimes, not to just keep leading or keep managing. We need to listen to understand more what people are thinking of, or what kind of things do we need to discover within our team to make it thrive. And that's also crucial because the more you listen and be open to listen, you kind of discover things that about people that it will amaze you. And
Yeah.
it will just make, it's the good leader is known by having a good team. Because the more the team is thriving, that's because of a good leadership. And that's where the success is going to be happening. And when people are in that comfortable area, the resilience will be much higher because they went through the hardship. Then now it's open highway, and then they start to thrive, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things for a leader to do. So
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good segue into my last brief question before we close out today's episode with our chaos theory. We are going to make sure that you can find links to the relevant places where you can find and reach out reach out to Romeo, in the text around wherever you dug out this podcast. But um, for those of you who love hearing that and take it from there, Romeo, if people want more of you, or find out more about what you do, and how they could work with you, where would they go?
well, they had I have my own channel, YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram and I have my website. So just go and search Romeo Life Coach, and you will see me everywhere. And it's because I love people. I love being around people, and there's a lot to give and to inspire. I just want to put some hopes out there because I needed that at a certain period of my life, and this is so important, so beautiful, Marja. It's so amazing. So you can find me on my website, romeolifecoach.com, or just go on YouTube at Romeo Life Coach. So you're gonna see me there. And Instagram, it's the same thing. On LinkedIn, it's gonna be Romeo El Chaer. So you're gonna have the link.
Yeah.
So looking
Yeah,
for
and your name will be everywhere on the title of the podcasts, etc. So
yeah,
that should be easy enough to manage, right? Well,
yeah.
great. Yeah, I like that you have such a positive attitude, that you love people, and yeah, the beauty of humankind, right? Which also what makes me passionate about my job. If I do my job better, people go home more relaxed again, right? And can actually enjoy all that stuff that is also there apart from the workplace. And I'm a workhorse. I love working crazy hours, but that is only when I get energized from the job, right? If I'm expending all these hours in treading water, that's not good. Life's too short for that. So yeah, I love that we share that philosophy. Thank you for being on. Definitely check out more of what Romeo has to offer, because there's so many good stories there. And they're not always easy stories, but there is yeah, I'm inspired by how well you are truly able to look at all that with a positive spin and truly make it positive, right? It doesn't feel like veneer to me. So I find that inspiring. To close out today's episode, thank you for joining me. Do you have a chaos theory to share with our listeners?
Look, life will punch you a lot. It will keep punching you, but you can do it. You can overcome those punches and knock life and move forward in your life. Just believe in yourself and make sure that nothing can stop you if you decide to. So go and just get it.
Thank you. Yes, just go get it, Tiger.
Thank,
Thank you so much, Romeo.
thank you,
Thank you for
Martha.
tuning in. Love to see you here again next week. Yeah, all the links and information on where to find more will be in the outro. See you next week. Bye. Thank you. If you're looking for more remedies, additional episodes, and tools to recover from business chaos and bring resilience into your business, you can visit thebusinessemergencyroom.com. If you need urgent care or want to discuss tailored support, you can connect with me through the podcast website, or you can check out thechaosgamesconsulting.com